listeners. Welcome to our 7th episode of Mind Your Business podcast. My name is Mia Gomez.
My name is Daniel Mata, and we will be the hosts for this episode. We want to give a special shout out to Studio G, powered by the Mike Loya Center for Innovation and Commerce, where we help current UTEP students and recent alumni grow their own businesses. Be your own boss.
In today's episode, we have the pleasure to have Ms. Hettie Houghton with us, and she will be talking about her life experiences as a professor here at UTEP. Welcome.
Thank you.
Can you give us a little background of who you are? Like maybe where did you study, where do you come from, and what are your interests and hobbies?
Okay, well, I born and raised here in El Paso, Texas, and I grew up here. I graduated from high school. I went to Burgess High School, and I went to BYU to school right after high school. After a year, I came back and I got married and started working here. I worked at Farrah Manufacturing, which is now Farrah at Fountains, and I did that when we were first married, and then my husband was going to school and trying to get his degrees. So once he finished, he started his career. He has his own business, Houghton Financial Partners, and he got into that, and so then we decided to start our family. So we had 5 children, 14 grandchildren now, and I decided when my kids got older, I decided to stay home with them when they were young, and then as they were getting older and getting in high school and stuff, I decided that my job was going to be leaving, and so what I needed to do was do something. So that's when I headed back to school, and I came here to UTEP, took my first accounting class, and absolutely fell in love with it and decided that was for me. And so then I proceeded and went on and got my master's degree and eventually ended up teaching here.
That's amazing. Could you tell the audience a little bit more of why accounting is important and why as they're trying to be entrepreneurs, why do they have to know accounting?
You need to know accounting because it's extremely important in the business world in general. It doesn't matter what business you go into, you have to know the basics of accounting to be able to be successful. And I was just reading an article from Warren Buffett, and he said the same thing, that accounting is the language of business and that everybody should know it that is going to go into business. So it doesn't matter what kind of company you have, if you're going to be an architect or you're going to do construction or whatever it might be, everyone needs an accountant to help them to realize what their dreams want to be and to be able to achieve those dreams. And it's really a basic aid in your business thinking, and it's basically the starting point to help you to be able to evaluate your business and see if you're on track where you want to be, and then keep control of your expenses, your costs, and your cash flow.
Right. And currently I'm actually taking in my master's program accounting, so it's been very fun. Honestly, like during the undergrad, it was a bit tedious because I took it during the pandemic, so I didn't feel that I learned that much. But right now that I'm like face to face in class, it's so interesting, and you learn how important it is to know your facts, because you never know, like you have to know your numbers just to check that everything's flowing like you said. So it's very interesting.
Exactly. To me, it's like putting together a puzzle.
Right.
You know, and I love how all the pieces can fit together, and then it really is satisfying when you get to the end and you're like, wow, I did it. It's great.
Have you ever managed funds for a startup company, or have you ever been in accounting for a really big corporation? And if so, what was your experience like?
The experience I had is because I went back to school when I was older. I hadn't worked for a while. So I had worked at the manufacturing company previously, but then I decided that I needed some experience. So I started out as a TA here. Then I got an internship at a local accounting firm. And then from there, they offered me a full-time position. And I worked there until I got my master's degree. Once I got my master's, then I got an invitation to come here and teach. So per se, to actually work in a company, no, I have not. I've just worked at an accounting firm, and I did auditing there. And it was a great experience. I loved it. But I love teaching more.
And out of curiosity, what are like some things that you learned on the field that they didn't teach you in college?
Well, I think that when you are first learning, like in school, you're learning the very, very basics. As you get out into the accounting world, like I did auditing, then you're going to different companies and you're auditing their financial information to make sure that it's reasonably accurate. So when you do that, you get to see the inner workings of different companies. And lots of times what happens is you may be working for an accounting firm, then you start having auditing clients, and then they grab you and say, hey, would you like to come and work for us in the company? So it's kind of a revolving door in some respects for accounting, because you end up going off lots of times and working with one of your clients.
Great. And I'm really curious, what would be an advice that you would give out to student entrepreneurs for them to avoid financial risks? Because I know that we're in a young age and we make a lot of mistakes. So I'm curious to know what you have to say.
Well, I think the most important thing is to control your costs. You know, lots of times we get real ambitious and we think that we want to get out there and make a big difference and we're going to make lots of money. And you have to be able to look at it realistically. You're starting out, there's a lot of expenses that come with that. And you want to control those expenses and at the same time know what your cash flow is. Know how much you're getting in each month and how much is going out. Because if you don't know that, then you're going to have a hard time controlling it. Because you're going to be dealing with suppliers and vendors and invoices and payroll. And so all of these things take some planning, and learning how to control all of these costs at a very early stage is extremely important. Because if you don't control your costs, then you're going to find yourself in trouble. And it really doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. You need to make sure that you understand accounting, because it will help you to be able to go and get a loan or be able to pay your expenses or manage your payroll. All of these things are so important. And it takes some experience in learning this. So if you can't afford to hire an accountant, then you need to make sure that you understand what accounting is and how important it is in a business.
Right. And I'm over here taking notes because I'm actually working like on my personal finances, and they've been pretty like hectic throughout the month. So it's interesting to hear that. Thanks.
Many entrepreneurs, whenever they're starting a business, they might not be the most, like, how do you say, like financially savvy person. They might not have a strong financial background. Is there any key concepts or practices that you could tell them to, you should do this and then this in order for you to have a strong foundation on accounting?
Yes, I think one of the first things that you should do, and I think this goes with any business that you're starting, is that surround yourself with good people. Learn to build relationships with individuals that have maybe not doing exactly the same thing that you're doing, but that have been successful in whatever they're doing. If you get good mentors and talk to them and find out from their experiences, you can learn a lot. And by building those relationships, those people will be there to help you and to help you to be successful. And I think another thing is you need to value work, hard work, because it's going to take a lot of time in the beginning to get established and to make sure people recognize you and know what you're doing. And so don't be afraid to put in the time and the effort that it's going to take to be successful. I learned that when I was going to school, because I had 5 children. And so having 5 children, and then I started working as a TA here at UTEP. And then I was also going to school, like a lot of students here, work, go to school at the same time. It requires a lot of dedication, diligence, and lack of sleep in a lot of cases because you're having to work. I like to run, and so every day I would get up before my kids got up, and then I would go outside and run, and I had everything on note cards that I needed to study. And I would flip through those note cards as I ran my 5 or 6 miles every day. And that's how I studied, because my time was limited. And so not being afraid to put in the time to be successful, I think, is also a problem. But you need to know also the basic financial rules. And one of them is your financial statements. Understanding what an income statement or a profit loss statement is, and keeping track of that every single month to make sure you're on track where you want to go is essential. And another thing would be knowing and understanding our balance sheet, because other people are going to look at those statements and be able to kind of make a decision if they want to do business with you. So understanding all of that and being able to put it together is extremely important. And then I feel like managing your cash flow, very, very important. Because if we don't know what's coming in and what's going out with our cash, then it's going to be difficult to stay on track and to grow and to plan for our future. So I think these are some of the essential things that we need to do. You know, most large companies will plan 5 or 10 years out in advance. For a small company just starting out, you need to plan probably 2 or 3 years in advance. And then as you do that, you get your goals for 2 to 3 years out, and then you come back and start doing weekly goals. How am I going to achieve that 3-year plan that I have? And so one of the things is that is really important, that a lot of mistakes that companies make is they don't control their costs, especially their fixed costs, the ones that are really, usually larger, and don't get in the habit of buying too much, doing too much at the beginning. Control those costs so that you don't get stuck with not having enough.
And I'm curious, now with the technology advancements that we have been seeing, is there like any program that you find interesting that you think can help in the future for the efficiency of accounting? What are your thoughts about this?
Well, I think there is a lot, but as I have taught over the years and I talk to different businesses, and we have professionals come in, because I'm also the faculty advisor for Beta Alpha Psi, which is an honors accounting association. So every week we have professionals come in and speak to them about accounting, and they're not just taking accounting students now, the accounting firms, they're taking information systems students, finance students. They've now opened the door for a lot of different people to come in and work. And so what they have told me is the most important thing students can learn right now is Excel. It is the foundation for pretty much all technology. And so I would encourage all students to go out and become certified in Excel, because I had one of the partners in PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is one of the largest accounting firms in the United States, come in, and she told me that all their clients use Excel. Now, they have other advanced technology that they use, but having that foundation then just makes it easier to learn the different technologies that different companies have and they use. So learning Excel is extremely important. And not just knowing how to do a spreadsheet, but knowing everything about Excel and how to use it. Another thing I would recommend is learning with something like QuickBooks or something similar to QuickBooks, because that will help you to be able to manage your costs and manage your expenses. And also then you can always look and see how well you're doing. You know, are you making money? Are you not? You can keep track of it really on a daily basis if you wanted to, but at least monthly and then annually to see, am I heading towards that 2-year or 3-year goal that I had predicted that I wanted to get there? And what changes do I need to make to be able to allow me to do that? So I think just starting out simple, nothing really large at first. Again, making sure you keep those costs down and don't overcommit to things that you can't afford at the, you know, when you're first getting started.
Right. A lot of emphasis on that. Miss Hettie, I would like for you to give you the spotlight to promote your class, talk about your class, what you do, where can students find you or reach out to you if they have any questions?
Okay, students can reach out through email. I'm always available through email. I'm in the College of Business, so I should say the Woody L. Hunt College of Business. And I'm on the second floor in room 256. But I teach Principles 1 of Accounting and Principles 2. If they're not sure that's something maybe they want to pursue, if they don't want to go to those classes, then they might be interested in joining maybe Accounting Society or Beta Alpha Psi. Those two organizations will allow them to see different opportunities that they can have if they are involved in accounting in some way. Like I said, many of the accounting firms are now looking for other majors, not just accounting. So it doesn't matter maybe if your degree is in some other college or your major is something different than accounting and finance, then you can, I know they're recruiting very heavily with the engineering department right now. And so I think these companies are looking for a variety. And so I think that if you're not interested in actually taking the class, or maybe you're not sure, then come and join us. We have a meeting every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. in room 318 in the College of Business, and they can go there and we'll give them something to eat, and they can come and join us and let us see what we're doing and what opportunities are available for them. As for me, I teach Principles 1 and 2 of accounting, and Principles 1 is financial accounting, so that's learning the basics, you know, about journal entries and financial statements and the accounting equation. That's basically what's in that course. Then when you get to Principles 2, it's more managerial accounting. So you're learning more about the difference when we start manufacturing goods and how we account for our costs when we manufacture a product. And we do it through job order costing and process costing. So this helps the student to see, okay, there's different things I can do with an accounting degree. I don't just have to sit in a cubicle and do taxes. We have a lot of software now that eliminates that. And then I can do auditing and get to know other companies and what they do, or I can do other things. You know, there's a lot of different opportunities to help students realize what they can do with that degree.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this insightful episode. It was truly an honor to have you on the podcast.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Studio G, the Blackstone Launchpad, and the Mike Loya Center for Innovation and Commerce wants to thank you, our listeners, for your constant support.
Stay tuned for our upcoming seasons, and remember to always
Mind your business.